it's time for it's everyone's favorite time. Q's favorite movie, a 150,000 frames. It's time for Q's favorite movie. Yay! Alright, so today we're gonna be talking about X-Men Origins Wolverine. This has to easily be one of the best stories ever, even just stories in general that have ever come out of the X-Men franchise. Like the original animated show, the comics, X-Men Evolution does come pretty close to X-Men Origins Wolverine. But unfortunately, X-Men Origins Wolverine is just easily the best X-Men product ever that has ever come out of the franchise. So, it has excellent cinematography, excellent storytelling, writing, delivery, and all the actors kill it. They're just so in it. They're just amazing. They know exactly what they're doing, and they're just happy to be there. And you can see it with their acting. And every step of the way, the entire time I was watching the movie, I didn't think I'm watching a movie. I was just so enthralled and into the movie that I wasn't taken out of it. I just felt like I was there. I felt like I was watching Logan do these things. I felt like I was watching him be there with these people. I felt like I was watching him box the Blob and get his claws broken off by his brother. Alright, so let's go for some of the plot stuff, right? That's what we all care about, right? So, what happens is, it starts off and it gives a brief summary of Logan's or James's, what do you want to, whatever you want to call him, Wolverine. That's what I like to call him. We're just having fun here. It gives a brief summary. The movie gives a brief summary at the beginning. It's like the intro. The intro of the movie is just a brief summary of Wolverine's childhood. And he grows up, and he's sick. He's really sick, and it's winter. And since it's, like the medieval era, like caveman era, they don't know how to treat sickness or anything. They're like, oh shit, you're dead. So, they're just like, oh man, you're so sick, James. It's gonna be okay, buddy. But the sickness is likely actually the oncoming of Wolverine's new mutant powers. And there's people yelling downstairs, and he's all stressed, and he runs down, and someone's yelling at his mom or something, and he stabs the man, and he's like, oh my god, it's my dad. And that's when he finds out what actually happened, because claws came out of his knuckles, and he's like, oh. And his mother's freaked out. She's probably like, oh, you're a witch, get the hell out of here, you're not allowed here. And then he runs off with his brother, who's his older brother, Sabretooth, of course. And they run together, and it's a cool little intro montage of them running through all the wars in history. And since Wolverine's just that old, because he regenerates, he doesn't really age because of that. So time passes, and eventually Sabretooth and Wolverine are locked up for being like war criminals or something. But the people that locked them up is actually Stryker. Yeah, we're already getting into it. And if you're a Wolverine fan, then you know who Stryker is. And if you're not, I'll give you a brief summary. Stryker is the man who essentially took Wolverine. He said, I'm going to help you out, we'll make you cool and stuff. And so he took Wolverine and he put metal around his skeleton. And Wolverine used to not have metal claws, like the iconic metal claws that everyone knows, because what it actually was is just that he had extra bones in his arms that would come out when he flexed his muscles in a certain way or got angry or something, and yeah, they would come out of his knuckles. So that's why they're metal. There was a metal coating of adamantium, which is an alloy from, Wakanda. I forget what the metal's called, but yeah, vibranium and something from Captain America's shield. Very cool. And it's around his entire skeleton. And then Stryker's like, yes, now wipe his memory, because we're going to turn him into Weapon X, which is what we're going to use to control him. And he's going to be our weapon. And that's what Stryker does at that company, right? He does a lot of that. And, there was actually a time when there was something called the X-Force, which was a bunch of weapons made by Stryker. Even Deadpool was one of them. And he wasn't very useful. They kind of got rid of him. Anyway, yes, Stryker. He found them. And eventually, Sabretooth and Wolverine and their friends, they form a team, and they're going to other countries and killing civilians. And not civilians. And Deadpool's there. And he does this cool thing. He cuts a bullet in half with his swords, because that's how that you can do that. When you're a cool ninja like Deadpool, like Ryan Reynolds. And then eventually Wolverine's like, alright, Sabretooth, you're kind of a dickhead because you keep killing a bunch of civilians, and I don't like that. So he runs off, he holds his pants because he accidentally pissed in them, and he runs off crying, and he goes off and he wants to start a new life. He gets a girlfriend. They have an awesome life. She's a teacher, she works at a school, and yeah. And then one day, he's just going through the thing. Wolverine's going through the normal stuff, just doing the normal stuff, and he's gonna go pick up his wife from work or something like that. Yeah, and he's like, oh, that smells like blood, and that smells like my wife, I think. And he runs around and he's like, shit, man, my wife is dead as hell, and she has claw marks, and Wolverine's like, oh, I know only one thing that could have done this, and he's like, it was Sabretooth. So he goes, no! And the birds fly away from the trees. Sorry, I'm getting a bit choked up here. It was a very emotional scene. He finds Stryker from his past, from so long ago, and he says, that son of a bitch, Sabretooth, my own brother, he killed my wife, that son of a bitch, he killed my wife. And Stryker's like, alright, I can help you. And Wolverine's like, hell yes, please do. And he's like, I'm gonna give you an adamantium skeleton, and it's gonna hurt a lot, but you'll be fine, and then you'll be made of metal, so you're gonna be like cool, and you're gonna sink when you go in water, so maybe don't go swimming anymore. That's like the one trade-off. You're not gonna be able to swim. You can't go to the water park anymore, Wolverine. Are you gonna be okay with? Can you live with that? I wouldn't be able to. I love swimming. I really love swimming. I don't know if I'm Stryker. I really love swimming. I don't know if you knew that. I don't talk a lot about my personal life, but that if you know me personally, you know one thing about me, and that's that I love swimming. I'm Stryker, and I love swimming. I love swimming. I swim with my kids Stryker and his cronies, his workers, they begin the process on injecting the adamantium skeleton, the sheet, over Wolverine's bones. And then Stryker's like, do it. Get rid of his memories. We're gonna turn him into a weapon. And then Wolverine's like, oh shit! My wife is flashing before my eyes. And then his eyes open wide. It's like an Evil Dead scene. It zooms in on his face and he goes, and he gets angry, and he throws his hands up in the air, and his claws come out, and he's like, and he tears shit up, he breaks everything, and he jumps out of a waterfall, naked, by the way, It's so epic. I love naked men. I love Wolverine still running away. He's at a countryside, and he finds this house in a field. It's so solemn, so nice. And he goes to the house. He talks to this wonderful old couple, and they're like, "The hell are you doing naked in our garage?" And he's like, I've been out partying.
I was out partying,
minding my own business. Until my boss accused me of stealing. Anyway, the hell do you want? I'm making a review! I am making a movie review of X-Men Origins Wolverine! Do you understand how much I'm contributing to society? Get out of my room!
Hi, I'm Saul Goodman.
Get out of my room! Since of course they're an old racist white couple, they're like, yes, of course you can stay in our house. As long as you like. As long as you just, treat us with respect and whatever, and you don't have any black friends. You can stay here as long as you like. Here, take my son's jacket. It fits you perfectly. And then he's testing shit out. He goes in the bathroom, he accidentally cuts off his cock with his new claws, and he looks at him in the mirror. He's like, whoa, they're so shiny. Ching, ching. And then he accidentally cuts the sink off, and he's like, oh shit. And they're like, oh, did you fall in? Did you fell in, Wolverine? And he's like, don't worry, I'll pay for it, because he's like, oh, look at the sink, it's in my hands, I'm sorry. Anyway, they're having a dinner, and then, old dude gets shot, and Wolverine's like, God damn it! And, he got shot by one of the old people that was in Wolverine's group, because Stryker is going after Wolverine because he ran away. And, he's like, hey, you bitch, I'm gonna get ya. And then Wolverine gets on this cool-ass bike that was in the garage and starts and he slices the helicopters to pieces, and he walks away from the explosions because he used his claws like flint and steel from the oil, from the spilled like oil from the airplane, from the helicopter, and it all explodes and he walks away, and it's super cool. And then he finds Blob or something. He's like, listen here, bub. And he's like, did you just call me Blob? And he's like, no, you dipshit. I said bub. And then Blob's like, eat this! Bam! 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 Then Sabretooth kills some people. Something. I don't know, Deadpool's there. But he looks weird, and but he's like the successful weapon from Stryker, right? And Wolverine finds this base, and he's like, "Whoa, this is where Stryker is. I'm gonna get that son of a bitch, and I'm gonna get Sabretooth, finally, because he killed my bitch wife." And he gets there, and he's like, "That's my wife. She's alive. Why? She's like, oh man, you weren't supposed to find out." And he's like, oh man, I didn't know you were alive. I wouldn't have done all this. I wouldn't have made this movie if I knew you were alive. And then she's like, well, I'm sorry. And then Deadpool's like, I'm here. But I got weird ass, sob. He sewed his mouth shut. He should get it because Deadpool is annoying. And he has these blades in his arm, but they're like long katanas, and they come out. And he has red red sweatpants on. And yeah, they fight on the Sabretooth's like, man, dap me up. And they dap up, and they're like, I'm sorry for killing your wife, but not actually. And Wolverine's like, it's okay, man. I hated that bitch anyway. It's dumbass school teacher. I hate them kids. and then they fight on the top of like a nuclear power plant, and then it falls down because Deadpool's dumbass head falls off his body, but is shooting lasers, so it like shoots the thing. It's like 9/11. It was pretty traumatic, to be honest. I don't know why they would make that after 9/11. That's kind of messed up. Way too soon as well. Came out in like 1980 or something. So yeah, Wolverine gets his head shot with an adamantium bullet. Stryker is told to walk forever, and he turns into a pile of mucus on the ground because he just walks forever. Wolverine's dead. Sabretooth is like gone, but Charles Xavier's there. He's like, what the hell? And yeah, best movie I've ever seen. 2 out of 10 for sure. Have fun watching it. I recommend you watch it. Tell your friends to watch it. I would not recommend reading a comic because it can get confusing. I'd watch the movie first so you understand what's going on if you read comics. Yeah. Also watch the menu. The menu's pretty